minutes from October the 6th. You've been sent the minutes and you have had a chance to look them over. Is there anyone who has any late corrections or additions to the minutes? Okay, I guess then we need a vote, someone to make a motion to approve the minutes.
I move that we approve the minutes as presented.
All right, thank you, Bob.
Angela seconds.
Second. Angela second. Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the minutes from our Zoom board meeting on October the 6th. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Excuse me. Those opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carries. Moving on. Our treasurer's report. Russell, you're on.
Yes, sir. There wasn't a whole lot of significant change. There was, I had to get some new checks because we have about 5 left. So we don't go through a whole lot, but I figured it was time to reorder. And that cost us about $24. And then we had one membership renewal, which was $20. So not a whole lot of change there. And that's about it.
And that was from the Reller, wasn't it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and from our last newsletter, Mr. Reller at one time was on our board, was one of the original people that help us set up this organization. So,
Oh, really?
nice to have, yeah, nice to have support from the Rellers.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, anybody have any discussions about that? I guess we're down about $4 than we were last month.
Yeah, I've got a couple of questions in general, just for point of information.
Sure.
Who's our checking account with?
It is.
Go ahead.
It is with, I'm drawing a blank on the
Heritage.
bank now, but they're off of Canyon and 128th right there.
That's Heritage Bank.
Heritage, thank you.
Mhm.
Okay. That's that. The question was asked in the last couple of meetings is how many dues paying members do we currently have? And how is a register kept? Is there info letter that they fill out and resubmit? Is it on a card file? Just general knowledge.
You mean, how do I keep track of that? Is that
Or
what
the
you're-
club or whoever does.
Okay, so when I get a new membership renewal, I have an Excel spreadsheet with all the members on it. And then so if they pay and then the amount that they pay, I just put that in there. So I do keep track of that.
Okay.
And as far as the paying members go, I would have to look at that one more time and then get back to you. But I believe there's over 180 in there. They don't all pay, every year, but that's the potential.
Are they being solicited to renew?
I haven't done any of that, but I figured that with the newsletter and then some of the meetings that we have, that would be kind of obvious, but
Yeah.
that's something we can talk about.
Yeah, without the membership or the open house that we didn't
Right.
have. Yeah, so that probably didn't lead to as much of a push for renewals.
Mm-hmm. Well, usually we get them, in the spring, and that annual meeting, is a good reminder. And so we didn't have that one, but we did get, quite a few. So seems
Okay.
to still be fresh on people's minds.
Yeah, I'm due, I think, this month, so it's a good reminder.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. We can put that on our website and Facebook page that in December is a good time to renew for 2021.
Yeah, I
Um,
just put a note on my calendar to do that in January, first thing. So I'll put that on the Facebook page
Okay.
in January.
Okay, we'll do that in January then. We'll put that on our website and Facebook page. Hey, Russell, seemed to me like, was there a receipt that you sent out to those people who, are we still doing that or not doing that?
I haven't been, doing that, but I have been shooting them an email.
Okay,
And 95% of the time I get those out, but I could be better at it.
all right, okay. It's been my recollection, because I've been treasurer before myself,
Mhm.
that on any given year, if you were to add up the number of paid people who have paid their dues, now these are donations now.
Right.
If they've donated a supporting membership, let's say in 2020, we would probably have anywhere from maybe 60 to 75 people. But like you say, there's probably about 180 that have over, let's say, the last 3 years, 3 to
Mhm.
5 years, have donated something to our group. I don't know if that's a little more helpful to Dawn or not.
Well, I would say we usually get about a third of our entire contact list. So, right around, 55 to 60. Like you said, that sounds accurate to me. I could go back and look and get you an accurate number on that, but
No, that's probably close enough of what I haven't been here as long as you guys have. It appears like it sustains the outgo at a livable level. I don't know what major expenses there might be to incur coming forward or going forward. So probably everything is okay from what I'm seeing.
yeah, we're doing okay. Some of the people that we have, in the community, they're bigger donators. Some of them are, well over $100. So that helps. But yeah, usually we stay pretty neutral when it comes to the money that we get in versus what goes out.
And our biggest expenses during the year tend to be our newsletter.
Mhm.
And well, we have a small expense for renewal of our with the Secretary of State, which is only like $10, isn't it? Something like that.
Yeah,
And
we
then
have
our mailbox.
Yeah, the mailbox, and then we usually make a donation to the community center up there.
Right, that's $600.
Yeah.
Right.
And then any legal things that we happen to get into would be extra.
Yeah. The last couple of years we had one. It was like $1,500. But
Sure, like the time we helped out North Cloverkeep Collins and their efforts out there
right.
on an appeal.
Yeah, it seems that those types of situations are pretty rare though. So.
Well, and who knows? We have. It's possible that there could be other worthy causes or appeals that we may want to get involved with monetarily. Help out.
Absolutely.
Any other questions of our treasurer, Russell? Do I have a motion to accept the treasurer's report for October?
So moved.
I'll second.
Angela, and who was that? Dawn? Did you say
Yep.
second? Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the treasurer's report for October 2020. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed? Motion carries. Now we move on to the League of Women Voters as correspondence. They provided a thank you email for the candidates forum. The thank you email also mentioned that they had good attendance over the course of all the different forums, and that the forums are available to be viewed again if you'd like on their website. So some information there. We also had a correspondence from Lisa Ikeda, her resignation email, which was dated October 26, 2020. I guess I need an opinion from other board members as to whether we just automatically accept her resignation email, or we have a vote.
That seems futile.
Hi, Jen.
Hi.
Welcome aboard.
Yeah, I've been here. I muted myself so you couldn't hear my screaming children. When someone requested,
Oh, I
I
see.
unmute.
Is that a whip you have behind you?
Shh. I could get in trouble for that.
All right.
I think
I
your
guess I'm
letter,
not getting any help from the peanut gallery here.
okay, I think your letter of resignation stands on its own and just be filed in the minutes accordingly.
Thank you, Don. Anybody else?
Yeah, I don't.
I would
see
agree with
any reason-
Don.
Too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
She's,
The only
I
reason,
talked to her a
reason,
little bit, and she
Yeah.
said that she's still, I mean, willing to help on certain projects and things if needed, so.
all right.
I reached
Um,
out to 3 people I know that live in her neighborhood and invited them to check us out and come to a board meeting and told them what the position was about. And one person responded back saying she wasn't interested. The others I haven't heard back from.
Okay. The last couple of days, I've been trying to get a hold of her to see if she could recommend someone from her area, because really now we do not have anybody that represents the area Canyon Road east to Woodland. So I'd like to get somebody from over there on our board, or at least as an alternate for right now.
We could, if you want, Larry, we could put now that we have that vacancy, we can put that on Facebook and we can put a little thing together, says we're looking for somebody, and
Oh,
I think
so
Bob was trying to get hold of
Larry?
you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Bob is in that area, but he's he's on the north end. I'm looking at.
Down on the north
from the
end.
Middle to the left. I'm sorry for leaving you out there, Bob. Yeah, we need
Yeah, that
somebody
area
from,
down by Wilco.
Yeah, somewhere from 84th south to the freeway. We don't have anybody out in that area.
Well, I mean, I'm not too far. I mean, I'm up on 48th and 96th.
Yeah.
I'm kind of in the middle right there.
Well, Angela, did you want to write up something to put on both of our website and our Facebook page, or did you want me to do that?
no, I can do it. I can just put a little blurb together and put that on our Facebook page. I can do that. I have a coworker that lives, I think, towards Woodland, and I'll have to bug him and see if he'd be interested.
Okay. Wow. All right. That sounds fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll let Lisa's resignation email stand on its own and file it away as Don suggested. The only reason I brought that up is because back in the day when we first started, we had to have a vote to accept somebody's resignation or not.
I don't think she cares
Okay.
about our vote.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty, I'm pretty sure that's the case because we're all volunteers, and if I want to leave, I'm leaving, and it doesn't matter what you say. So
So Larry, does that mean we have 2 vacant alternate positions right now?
that is correct.
Okay. Thank you.
And remember, when we are in need of a quorum, the alternates automatically become voting members of the
Yeah.
board as an alternate if they are
Yeah.
in attendance.
I still think it'd be really nice to have someone that's tied to this, one of the school districts somehow, whether it's Franklin Pierce or Puyallup. I mean, when my dad worked for the Franklin Pierce School District, he was a maintenance supervisor, but he actually served on the North Collins Clover Creek. Do I always say that wrong? North Clover Creek Collins. Anyway, he
Yeah.
served on their board just because they had schools in the area and did a lot of things. Like we used to have Ann Petter. It'd be nice to have somebody that's kind of linked to that. But there seem to be few and far between that want to join. So,
Well, that brings to mind there is a Puyallup School District administrator that lives in the Summit Waller area,
Mhm.
off of 104th between Canyon and Woodland, who I don't know, they've had a change in superintendents, but the previous superintendent strongly urged his other administrators to be involved in various groups,
Mhm.
and like Kiwanis or Lions Club or whatever. So I approached this administrator, and that administrator is not a person who joins. And as a matter of fact, he's rather critical of our group. So,
Mm.
yeah, because of
Alright.
the land use designation, he feels he can't subdivide his property up into small little segments.
Well, when I craft up like a little advertisement for recruiting some new members, maybe what I can do is email that to the board, and then if you know someone or you happen to know of a resource that could help push that information out, whether to schools or other organizations, then basically what I'm saying is I'm going to ask the board to help spread the word besides social media. So
We could have that go out to let's say Waller Road Neighborhood Watch, or
Yeah. Okay.
there's a number of neighborhood watches that have their email lists that I'm sure they would be willing to help us out. I know that Waller Road Neighborhood Watch would. I know that Fairview Neighborhood Watch would. There's one
Okay.
just west of where I live that would probably do that, spread the word.
Okay.
All right. Moving on down to Mid-County Community Plan revisions. I know there was some back and forth here within the last hour or so. I know that Angela has looked over the documents. I kind of looked over them, but see, what I do is I used to get an email. I used to get emailed to me the agenda for the Pierce County Council meetings, but I don't get those anymore. So all I do is I just Google Pierce County Council meetings, and that takes me right to a link that I can get into their meetings and their agendas and all the associated documents. So I would encourage any of you to do it that way. It's real fast. It circumvents having to go and just Google Pierce County, and then try to find your way to Pierce County Council. So Pierce County Council meetings, you Google that, it's a pretty quick process to get to their agendas. Well, I went to their, I did that route and discovered that all of the community plans that they were revising, all of them passed. All the changes passed on Thursday, October 29th. It was an extension of the Tuesday, the regular Tuesday Pierce County Council meeting.
Mhm.
And as far as the mid-county plan was concerned, it was unanimous. So the changes to the mid-county community plan was unanimous. Pam Roach was excused, so she was not there, but everybody else said yay.
It was weird because
Um,
I was listening to those online, because they broadcast those live on PCTV, and there was testimony after testimony after testimony of kind of the usual suspects from the community that we've heard from in the past, but not a single one of them was in support of approving the community plans as they were presented to the council. And I even forwarded our comment letter that we sent during the draft EIS comment period to Marty Campbell. I said, I'm watching the meeting right now live. Here's our comment letter in case you forgot. And our comments still, we don't feel were addressed adequately. And so in that meeting on Thursday, he did ask about the rural separator and if there were any, if we were, quote, losing any rural separator with these new community plans. And of course, we're not, but that totally ignores the fact that there are indirect and cumulative effects to the rural separator due to upzones on almost every border of it. So yeah, it was kind of interesting how they just unanimously approved those regardless of all the testimony that was coming in.
I'm not sure that the average Pierce County citizen understands the pressure that our local government is under with the rise in population. You know, the population increase numbers are pretty significant over, let's say, the next 5 years or so.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
so you got to put these people somewhere. So you kind of have to look at it from two different directions. The people who live out there, and then the people who are sitting behind the each of the Pierce County Council seats. That it's pretty challenging.
Well, is there anything stopping us from asking our council person why, despite the testimony and presentation, he voted the way he did?
No, we could ask that question. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it should be done. My gosh, we give him the floor at a meeting to present his agenda, and I don't recall because I don't put much faith in him anyway. I think that we have the right to ask him.
That's true. However, you have to keep in mind that we want the county council to understand our feelings towards the rural separator in its entirety, and we don't want our county council person, whoever it is, whatever political party they belong to all of a sudden decide that they don't want the rural separator anymore.
Yeah, no, you're right. And my voicing what I just said is counterproductive to our end result.
Well, yeah, in a way, I think it is. But there is one more factor too. The county council in a month and a half, 2 months from now, will look entirely different. Because were there four? Yeah, there were four different county council districts that got new people. And so it's going to be an entirely different county council come January.
Can you paint a picture of what these new revisions are going to look like and how it's going to affect the surrounding community?
So I think that
Who are
what
you-
you're mostly going to see, Russell, is upzoning on 112th, on Canyon, south of 104th, Pacific Avenue, 112th, 176th. Those areas are going to see most of the changes in terms of the zoning changes.
Okay.
So some of those are upzoned, some of them are consolidated, like instead of a dozen different kinds of zoning types, they've consolidated them into just a couple, so they're more consistency and more easily
Mhm.
navigable for, well, developers mostly and people that want to change their property use. That said, there aren't any changes proposed directly in the rural separator zone, I think, except for one parcel. The right up here on 104th and Canyon, there's the church, and then there's two parcels, and then there's two homes, and then there's two parcels, and so there's a couple of remnant zoning changes that are changed, but it's kind of too late because those have been already developed, so it really is kind of pointless to put them back in a rural separator, but they did anyway. So that's really all you're going to see. A little bit along Canyon between 104th and the freeway too is changed, but I mean, so there isn't really much change directly in the rural separator, but when you bring more traffic and you have more buildings and then you have sewers and you have other infrastructure that's brought to those locations, that could potentially put more pressure on the rural separator to develop it.
Yeah.
So, and there's no concurrency. There's no plans for, hey, let's bring in the sewer and then let people build. It's, hey, let's go ahead and let people change zoning and build this housing development, have a community septic system until sewer comes along. And that was one of the big criticisms of the plans too. It's just that sequence of how those, how the infrastructure is being put into place.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for
And that's
that. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
And that's not really fair to the builders or the people who will occupy houses or apartments in the future, because they're gonna be paying for septic tank systems installed, and then later on they're gonna be paying for
For the
taking
sewer.
those out of commission
Mhm.
and actually paying for a sewer system to be
Yep.
put in place.
Yep.
So it's almost like double taxation.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much unfair. You know, it goes back to that, the movie where Kevin Costner said, well, if you build it, they will come.
Yeah.
You got to build the infrastructure. You got to build the infrastructure first.
Well, that would
And-
only make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, that's the objection that Derek Young had to the whole plan was we're pushing all this development, but we're not putting the infrastructure in place first in order to support the development.
Mhm.
Yeah, and if you allow housing developments here and there and over there and way over here, then you have to do the expensive route of long distance connections to sewer systems, which makes it very expensive. And then you're hoping that in between along the routes of the sewer system, then other things will spring up.
Well, and
Or-
I guess too that the city of Tacoma has said that they could accommodate most of the projected growth within the city limits, and by upzoning some of the properties that they currently have that are either underutilized or vacant. And so that seems to have, That seemed to be a part of the conversation that was kind of swirling during the council meetings, but I don't know all the history on that. I don't know if
Well,
the county is recognizing that or not, so.
Aren't cities required or actually urged to, because of the new Washington State Growth Management plan, that they encourage the infill
Right.
in cities to
Mhm.
accommodate additional people coming into the city or the state.
Mhm. Yeah.
Anybody else? Okay, we'll just have to kind of wait and see how that's playing out. The League of Women Voters, to get out the vote in the virtual candidates forum, we already mentioned about the virtual candidates forum. They seem to be pretty successful. It was indicated that many voters tuned into those forums. As far as the get out the vote thing, Angela, would you have something to say about the get out the vote campaign?
I did put a couple of the emails that came my way on the Facebook page, and I think we might have put one on our website. Between Gabe and I think we put a couple on the Facebook page. I purposely didn't put every single one that came through because I felt like it was too much, and because we are not a political organization and voting this season seemed to be very polarizing. I kind of kept it limited to just kind of some basics of, if you have questions, here's some resources, that kind of thing. So I tried to keep the posts to a minimum and keep them fairly benign but informative. So
I think that's a smart way to go.
I mean, some of them I was just like, I would read them and I thought, I don't really think I'm going to post that one on our Facebook group. That could potentially trigger some folks. So,
Yeah, there's too much volatility this year.
well, and I don't want to have to sit and babysit all these conversations that are happening on social media either. And I only have so many hours in the day. So,
Yeah, nobody's got time for that.
Anyone else? As a civic organization, we need to be apolitical.
yes.
All right, the Canyon Road Regional Connection Agricultural Virtual Zoom Workshop, that's a lot to say, was Thursday, October the 8th, and Angela, as a county employee and involved with that, was there. And Angela, a few things?
So this workshop was a second workshop in a series that is focused on the Canyon Road Regional Connection project and the agricultural community down there off of Pioneer and 52nd-ish, so just down in the valley down there. It was really a continuation of the first one, where the county is still working to address many of the comments that and feedback that they've heard from the farmers and property owners in that area. There was nothing breaking, nothing monumental, I think, to share. It was just kind of an ongoing conversation of having the county project staff work with the ag community to resolve some access issues, pedestrian issues, traffic issues, drainage issues, that sort of thing. So I think they're planning on having one more workshop at some point here in the near future. So we'll see. But they're working together on it. So
Just keep in mind that the part that goes across the valley floor and across River Road and the river into Fife won't be done until 2027, 2028, I think.
yeah,
I think right?
I think construction is slated for 2025 on the bridge crossing, the new river crossing. Yeah.
Okay.
We were over that way. Has anybody been across 70th Avenue to the old 99? We were over there a month ago, and east of 20th, between 20th and old 99, the flyover bridge is well under construction.
Hmm.
And I was kind of, whoa, but I guess that's past what our plan is working towards. But I saw it as an interesting observation.
Yeah, it's a WashDOT project. Hmm.
Yeah, that's the new 70th Avenue Bridge over I-5. Yeah, it's coming along nicely. And the Canyon Road extension is going to be completed about the same time as the 167 extension as well. So they'll come together in that area. So, yeah, something. And about that time, maybe in 2027, 28, start to see the light rail system coming from Federal Way, starting to be built towards Tacoma. All right.
And then maybe
bad
we
we're all
can look
getting-
at getting the, maybe we can see the mess at 512 fixed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Moving on to Orange Gate Park. I had some help with Don Massey, and we had some dealings with, there were 23.5 hours of volunteer work. That seems large for October, but there were some big dumps, and also there was, I had to take some people back to show them a small abandoned homeless camp that needed to be picked up, and that did get picked up. There's some dangerous overhang trees across the street from my house on a main trail that supposedly, I had to take them to, that was 2 of the Pierce County Council crew people. That should be taken care of within the next week or so. They're heavy into, of course, right now, the Parks Department in getting fantasy lights up and ready to go in December. Yeah, just some weed whacking, some painting over graffiti on ecology blocks, just the standard stuff. I would like to point out that I've got the master plan stuff there again. If you have not taken the Orange Gate Park Master Plan survey, please do so. It's very important.
It's closed now. You
and-
can't take it, Larry.
Oh, it's done?
Yeah, they had, I just talked to Tiffany Odell the other day, and she said they had over 300 responses to the survey, which they
Wow.
never expected. Never, ever, ever. So they actually had to cut it off because it was getting too, they had gotten enough information, they thought, from the 300 plus responses that they received. So they,
Okay,
they
so
turned it off.
when I file the agenda for tonight, I'll, instead of in parentheses saying, please take the survey, I'll say survey is over.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. You can still go see the documents though, and
Yes.
if you would like.
I had it.
Pipeline Trail stuff is still there. So you can take a look at the Pipeline Trail update. Anybody have any discussions on either one of those topics?
Yeah, I had a comment under the Orange Gate. Dan Penrose, which is probably the head designer, creator of the survey, called me, and we discussed some of the options. To me, it's really questionable how active they are going to be in trying to incorporate public comments. I'm sure they'll try, but there were certain things that he didn't want to address, nor did he know about why the routing was run south and stated that they weren't sure that that was going to be the final design. So it's a big question is how the Orange Gate Trail is going to match up with the Pipeline Trail.
Any other comments? Yeah, they haven't finalized the route of the Pipeline Trail through Orange Gate as of right now. And I know that Don feels that maybe a route slightly to the north of Pipeline Maintenance Road there, maybe through where the old Birds Mill Road went, Wagon Road went, might be just as good. Of course, if you deviate to the south, I guess the reason for that is to make the trail a little more aesthetically pleasing and accommodate those people with disabilities better, because there is a pretty sharp uphill part right in the middle of Orange Gate on that Pipeline Road. So yeah, they're still talking it over as to what route it's going to be. Okay, anybody else? Okay, Gabriel, anything you'd like to say about the website or Facebook tech report?
Everything's going pretty smoothly. I just added a couple updates over the last, I think it was just the one update for the voting on the website. I've been working with Angela to keep the Facebook page going. The one thing I was going, yeah, you're doing most of the work still, but you know, I get in there and it's like, oh, it's already done. But the one thing I wanted to ask was in the effort to try to maybe for outreach for new members and also just for the Facebook page to maybe post it on the Nextdoor app.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I can incorporate that in there because I'm actually on that too.
Yep, that's a good point.
Just to redirect people to the Facebook group and then, you know, and or.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
But that would be it for me.
There was one short little article that I was considering putting together because we're a civic organization. We have every right to encourage people to vote, to exercise their civic responsibility to vote. There seems to be a lot of question about the Electoral College, and I've seen emails that want you to add your name to a list to get rid of the Electoral College. But I think there's a lot of people who don't quite know how things work after the general election. For example, December 14th is when the assigned electors, which means the political party that took the state, in the case of Washington State, it's the Democratic Party. Their candidate won the state of Washington, and it's 12 electoral votes. We have 10 congressional districts plus 2 senators. That makes it 12. And those 12 will be handpicked by the Democratic Party to vote for Joe Biden, the presidential candidate who won the state of Washington. That's on December 14th. Then on December 23rd, that's when the person, I'm trying to think of his title, who in Congress is supposed to take in those ballots, and then on January the 3rd or 4th, I think it is, Congress will actually certify the election in early January. And I think a lot of people may have don't exactly know how that process works, and I can put together a quick pathway for that if that's okay with the rest of you.
I don't see why not.
Yeah.
I have nothing against it, no, but I mean, people should be able to find the same information on Google, but if we want to
Mhm.
put it in something very concise for them, with some sources, I think that, to direct people to, that would be helpful.
And Larry, one question: where did this question spawn from?
Well, lots of people are upset that, for example, in this presidential election this year, let's just say, for example, President Donald Trump somehow wins the election, but he will be short about 4 million plus popular votes, which means that this will be another election where the person who won the presidency did not win the popular vote. And a lot of people get pretty upset that the person who didn't get the popular vote didn't become president. And so I think people don't quite understand how the Electoral College works and how the process works. And
Okay, so this was just kind of a general
it's an educational thing.
view that you have that you kind of wanted to get out to the community.
Yeah, just people who visit our website, they may be interested in knowing how the process works, unless they want to Google, like you can Google the Electoral College and how that all works pretty easily, but not everybody does that.
I just think we
Well-
should be careful, because it seems as though when you start talking about this whole election, people immediately take a position and then they start arguing about it.
Yeah, it wasn't-
whether they like it or
yeah.
like, oh, I vote for it, or I don't like it, or I like it. And so I want to be careful that we're not going to drum up a bunch of drama specifically on the Facebook
No.
page, because
No, that wasn't my intent.
No, I know that. I just want us to be careful. So
My position is not to be involved in it. What I'm hearing from you, that it's the people that want a popular vote election versus the people that want the electoral college. And that is a political issue, and it's not our responsibility to explain how it works to either side.
Yeah, no, Don, you're misunderstanding me. What I would do is I would just give a timeline on how the Electoral College works. That's it, period.
And that's exactly what I'm saying. It's really not our position to tell them how it works.
You're encouraging questions that we don't want to answer.
That's my opinion. You go ahead and take a vote. I don't care.
I would say I'd be inadvertently taken politically, regardless of thing. If someone's going to try to read into or assume there's a slant to it, regardless, and someone can easily read a slant into or bias into anything somebody writes at this point in our
yes,
environment.
It could be really easy to go off the rails.
yeah.
Okay, I think there's enough comments that I will withdraw that suggestion. Less work for me.
Yeah, you spend enough time on social media, Larry. You just learn the less you say is better.
Mhm.
Even if it is
Yeah.
meant to just be informative and people can make their own decisions, it ends up, you'd be surprised at where these discussions go very quickly.
Yeah, we'd hate to
Yeah,
have you go through all that effort and then people take it the wrong way. I mean, we know what you would intend to do, but others might not, so.
Mhm.
well, okay, all right. I hear you. Moving on to, let's see, the revised bylaws. I sent you a title page, the mission statement and objectives page, and the incorporation pages, and also the bylaws themselves. If you print those out and put them together, you have the complete package. So you all were sent that. Anybody have any questions or comments about that?
Would it make sense for me to put them all together into a single PDF document?
If I knew how to do that.
I can do that for you if you like. I have all pieces. I can just put them all together.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Okay.
And is
Terrific.
that something we put on the website or no?
Oh, that's a good question. What do we think?
Yeah, I mean, if it's our bylaws and,
Yeah.
then yeah.
Put on the board of directors page.
Yeah, probably with the minutes and the newsletters and that sort of thing.
Yeah, it'll be a single line just with a quick descriptor on it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be good.
I'll add that then.
I'm for that.
Yep.
Okay, thanks, Gabriel. Wow. All right, moving on to the hot topic, Summer Water Community Association president issue for 2021. Remember, it was a 2020 goal. Angela, you want
It was.
to introduce us to this?
This was just, I thought it would be good as a reminder for us to be thinking about our board and who's going to be in what positions, since our current president is eventually going to exit stage left. And so before that happens, I thought it'd be good for us to just be thinking again of a plan of succession or recruitment of a new person for that position. So
Yeah, here's my feelings on this, that I have been president for probably too long, and I need a break. And I think someone needs to take over the reins of the presidency for a couple of years. I would like to probably remain on the board. And I know that in January is when we have to decide who's going to be president, vice president, secretary, and treasurer. And I think we've come down to the last 2 months to make a decision, and somebody needs to step forward and say, okay, I'll take the reins for the next couple of years. And so we've got the month of November and the month of December to talk amongst ourselves. I don't think we should be talking back and forth about it during a public recorded board meeting. So probably we should talk to each other via email or phone and come up with some possibilities as to who might want to step forward for a couple of years.
Mm.
And then, you have to consider also, there's paperwork that has to be done at the Heritage Bank whenever you change people around in the executive part of your organization. So is Russell going to want to stay treasurer for 2021? Is John going to want to stay secretary for 2021? And how about Angela? Does she want to stay vice president, or does somebody want to, how much are we going to move around in our executive wing of our organization? So I think that I would recommend that we do, behind the scenes conversations amongst ourselves as to what our president, vice president, secretary, and treasurer are going to be for the 2021 year ahead of us.
Yep. Okay.
Oh, and by the way, Gabriel, as far as the that last page of our bylaws, John and I still need to sign them. There's signatures that have to go on that last page, and I've been meaning to get together with John and have us sign at least one of the an original document. So
Okay.
maybe before you send it out, we should get signatures.
Sure, absolutely.
Or
I can add them to it
do we
after the
really-
fact too. It's fine either way.
Okay, all right.
As far as the
I say then
documents,
go ahead.
it should probably be assembled with the signatures, but for the website, I really don't think it matters. It's informative
Okay,
on a
yeah,
website.
go ahead. Yeah,
Okay.
go ahead and put them on the website. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Anybody else? Okay, a last minute kind of addition. I know that that when I added this to our agenda, I forgot to renumber thereafter on down. So
Hmm.
it looks like we got 2 8s there. So Canyon Rim Estates issue, Bob, something came up recently, and I'd like you to explain what's going on there.
Okay, so Northwest Cascade submitted a new plan that is essentially the old plan with deeper lots so that they meet the 1 acre minimum. And they're leaving 1 lot empty in the center so that they can say that rather than 16 lots, which is more than you can cluster in the rural separator, it's going to be 2 clusters of 8. Learned from Dan that the only way that this can be challenged is if within, I believe, 7-day period of a filing of or determination of non-significance by the county, an appeal is filed. That appeal has to be accompanied by a filing fee of like $3,600. That's something that I mentioned. I sent out a letter a couple of weeks ago to people on the mailing list for the county, everybody who lives along the street and adjacent to the pit, you know, mentioning that amongst some other things that are coming up. So I'm working on trying to get some commitments from some folks to raise that amount of money. Another issue is who files it. And one possibility for filing the appeal would be our organization, since we're already on record as opposing the development. We've had testimony at the prior Mid-County Advisory Commission meetings. There was a letter that was somewhat significant in Northwest Cascade, withdrawing their original proposal because it was pretty clear that it wasn't going to get past the hearing examiner the last time around. So it would be a matter of our having a letter ready. Dan could work on that, or I could work on that with Dan. He could submit it. And then also being the recipient for people involved to contribute to the filing fee and running it through our bank account. So that's where we are right now. It's just a matter of when the county files a determination on significance. Most likely that will be shortly after the MCAC meeting.
Okay, this, we already are involved in this issue. We have, our organization, our association has standing in this issue, which gives us the opportunity to be a lead in filing this administrative appeal. Is that correct, Bob?
Yes, and if the appeal is not filed, then when it goes before the hearing examiner, people can make their arguments, but he can't take them into consideration unless that appeal has been filed.
Why
Okay.
so much money? That just seems,
Well,
it seems
most
over-
likely because it would be something that the developers would have pushed through with the county in order to keep people from filing appeals to stuff that they want to do.
Yeah.
that just makes me mad.
It's called working
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
intended.
It's kind of a deterrent for frivolous appeals.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Also makes it difficult for individuals, unless they are individuals of means, to
Yep.
appeal decisions.
Right.
Mhm.
Which
Right.
there's
Yeah.
some inherent unfairness there.
Which is why an organization such as ours is important, and also to make sure the members are supporting members as much as possible.
Mhm.
So we can do stuff
Um,
on the committee I'm sorry, on behalf of the community.
So Bob, you're basically asking the board of directors here to take the lead in filing the administrative appeal. Is that correct?
Yes.
And that will
How
require
many
a vote.
neighbors- How many neighbors have you asked to weigh in on this in any way, shape, or form? Or
The
especially
letter
financially?
I sent out to about 18 different people, the letter, and just kind of laid out what's going on. The next one that I plan to send out within a few days is basically going to be a real brief one saying, here's what we have to do, and here's how much money we need to raise. Everybody chips in. It can be as little as this. And given the expense of the homes over there, there are certainly people who could step in and pay for it themselves and not even notice. So, you know, if everybody chipped in, you know, a few $100s could help pay for it. If the board wanted to, you know, we could certainly chip in some for it. I was planning on doing so.
What if we did some sort of a matching, like 50 cents on the dollar towards whatever the, you know, I don't know, just could be 20 cents on the dollar, you know, for what those people are willing to put up by themselves.
What kind of a timeline are we looking at here?
Well, I say there'd be about 7 days from the time that the county issues its determination until we would have to get the appeal filed. And that's something you can just fill out online. Right now, it's a matter of getting commitments from people. And while the matching is interesting, since we have a fixed amount, and I had, oh shoot, it's buried so deep in my email right now, but let's say it's $3,600. So, you know, 20% of that would be $720, which would be really generous. I mean, even $500 would be, you know, a good amount. But more so just, number one, agreeing whether or not we want to be the lead in filing the appeal. Because these would be two separate items if we voted on them.
Well, I mean, I'm all for it.
Bob,
Yeah, I'm in on being the lead. So if we want to make a motion on that, I'll move that we take the lead on the appeal.
I'll second that.
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded that the Summit Waller Community Association takes the lead in the administrative appeal concerning the Canyon Rim Estates application. Is that worded okay in your mind, Bob?
I would say possible only because it has not happened yet.
Okay, so provided necessary funds have been raised.
Well, no, what I'm saying is the county has not made that determination yet. So rather than
Okay.
saying that we take the lead in appealing this, that we would take the lead in any, let's see, if the county issues a determination of non-significance, then the Waller Road Community Association would file an appeal or take the lead in filing an appeal.
All right. Would you repeat that one time again so that
Okay.
John has an opportunity to write that down?
Okay, nice mathematical if-then statement. If Pierce County issues a determination of non-significance for the Canyon Rim Estates development, the Summit Waller Community Association Board is willing to act as lead in filing an appeal,
Administrative appeal.
an administrative appeal, yes.
John, do you need that repeated again?
No, I think I have it, and you'll be able to review it once it's in print. And Bob can as well. I can see, yeah. So everybody will see it.
And Bob, is this because Northwest Cascade hasn't really been responsive to any of the changes that either we've asked for or the
Yeah,
county
not
has
at
asked
all.
for? Okay,
Not at
they're
all.
still pushing the maximum amount of lots, that sort of thing.
Over again, what they offered or what they wanted last time was 16 lots clustered when the maximum is 15.
Right.
And they only had lots that were less than 2/3 of an acre. In order to make them comply with the minimum 1 acre lot size, they're now 400 feet deep. If you can imagine going 400 feet in the air from 62nd, I believe it is, into the pit.
Yeah.
It's absurd. They still have 100-foot frontages, which is, if you go, say like 1960s developments, that's a real typical frontage for
Mhm.
an urban lot.
Yeah.
They're still going to be sharing driveways.
Oh, okay.
And in order to claim that there are 2 clusters instead of 1 large cluster, they're going to leave 1 lot in the center empty and say it's 2 clusters of 8 instead of a cluster of 16, which it truly is.
Oh, I see that. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, they're trying to play games with this to see what they can get away with.
Yeah, I'm looking at their preliminary plat, which is part of their package, and I can see that empty. Like it's lots 1 through 8, and then there's a gap, and then there's 9 through 16.
Yeah.
No.
A possible pocket park in the middle.
Yeah. It's on a hill.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just an empty piece. I
So
doubt they would do anything with it.
can I have a question of clarification? These lots, they are bordering on 66th Avenue and they are on the west side?
Yeah,
No, 62nd.
they're on the east side of the pit.
So it's actually the canyon rim. They look out their back door for the view, because there'll be homes built on the west side of it, won't there, at some point in time?
No, the rest of it's
No.
supposed to be into a land bank.
Oh, I understand.
Yeah.
So,
Open space.
okay, got it.
But what's
As you go-
unusual here is that you don't have to go very far out your back door before you start dropping off significantly down into an old gravel pit.
And they're going to be doing some fill. I don't know how you bring in that much fill to have any kind of a decent yard that doesn't have a gigantic slope.
Mhm.
All right, there you go.
Yeah, that's 62nd Avenue, not 66th, Don.
And that looks flat. When you take a look at the map that's associated with their proposal and you take a look at the contour lines,
Mhm.
it's ridiculous.
Yes, that is a hole back there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's really steep. Yeah.
So the significant or primary
Wow.
There you go.
purpose of
There you go.
supporting appeal would just to avoid
Oh, what the appeal would do is it would allow the hearing examiner to hear arguments regarding environmental impact of this, traffic, aesthetics, land values for the neighborhood, because you'd have more crowded homes here, less expensive homes that would detract from the value of homes on the other side of the street. And so what it would allow the hearing examiner to do is to mitigate. And he could say, well, instead of 16 homes, you can build 8 homes, as an example of what he could do. You know, or he might say, you know, your minimum lot size across the front is going to be 200 feet. He can do something to limit the number of homes that go into this development. And if you don't file the administrative appeal, he can hear it, but he can't take it into consideration.
And you miss an opportunity to have all kinds of mitigation.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Going back to who initiated the motion?
That was me. Yeah, so.
So is
Yeah,
that John?
I agree with all the changes that we've made. And I've noted some of the discussion.
And who
So
seconded
I
it?
don't know if it's time to go
That's
for a
me,
vote.
Larry.
Oh, okay. So John, did the motion and Russell seconded it. John, could you read the motion?
If Pierce County issues determination of non-significance for the Canyon Road, Canyon Rim Estate Development, the SWCA board is willing to act as lead in filing an administrative appeal.
Okay. Does that work for you, Bob?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Any
So-
further discussion?
No, I just have a question. So this was a mining operation that is now being sold to a developer. Is that?
They already purchased it. They purchased it quite a few years ago, towards the end of the mining operation. And, oh gosh, 25 years ago, maybe, the owners at the time were granted development rights to put 16 houses at the bottom of the pit. At the time, some of the neighbors opposed it and lost. And then shortly after that, Northwest Cascade purchased the property. And actually, they never had the actual final approval. They had a temporary development plan that they were supposed to take care of, never submitted anything final. This drug on. And then eventually it also got to the point where their application had passed its drop dead point. And so that was going to be another issue with opposing it, was that, well, they were past their cutoff time. So their proposal is no longer valid. But they had overmined the bottom of the pit to the point where they could no longer put houses down there. I think it probably had to do with being able to put a septic system in. And so in order to try to make as much as they can off of this, they decided that they wanted to try to put houses up on the East Rim. And they're saying, well, you know, we were already approved for 16 homes here. This is just moving the homes. Well, it's a lot more than that.
Yeah, nice try.
Doesn't even look like it would be safe. to me.
Well, if I knew that I had a house built on that much fill, place like that, I wouldn't buy it.
Mm-mm.
Just imagine what would happen if we had a good earthquake.
Right.
Yeah. Let alone your kids tumbling down
A
the
lot of
backside of
erosion
the
here.
400 feet.
Yeah.
And liquefaction of the earth below it.
Yeah,
Yep.
there's not no plant life trees holding that earth into place. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows? They say that they've got a plan that's approved by the state for filling that in, although it's certainly not going to be level.
I'm sure that they're going to try and fill in a little bit more behind where the houses would be, but who knows how much.
Yeah.
I bet this comes up again someday, not just here, but behind me.
It could.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I thought the county was taking over that pit.
That has
But
been
that
the rumor for 40 years.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, it's been moved and seconded. For this motion that has been read to you. Any other discussion? All right, those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, say nay. Okay, motion carries. The next item on this issue would be, does the Summit Waller Community Association Board of Directors want to contribute money if a administrative appeal is necessary?
And we won't know that until when, Bob?
I believe my understanding is that the determination on significance will be issued shortly after the MCAC meeting, but it's just a matter of I'm waiting and watching on PALS to see when that happens.
And the MCAP meeting is next Tuesday.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, could we make a motion that Summit Waller could financially contribute to the cause pending the outcome of the MCAC meeting, and then if the determination was issued?
Well, we wouldn't be able to set an amount until our December meeting, wouldn't we?
You could do a provisional one now. I mean, up to an amount.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've done that before.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
We've done that before. Do you want to go up to $500 provisional? The Summit Waller Community Association Board of Directors will contribute up to $500 if it is necessary to initiate an administrative appeal on the
That
Canyon
would
Rim
go a long way.
Estates development.
I think
I'm
that
sorry,
would
what?
go a long way in helping the
I'm not,
neighbors.
before I get at the moment, I think it might help Bob if in writing a letter to his 18 people to know that if we're taking the lead and putting some skin in the game would help him.
Oh yeah, that's
whether
going
the
to go
amount
out.
is- yeah, I'm just
That will go out tomorrow or Saturday at the latest.
Now, keep in mind that Bob and Dan here will put together the appeal, the administrative appeal if necessary. And Dan has told me that he will do it pro bono. So there seems to be lots of good things here. Now, keep in mind that We contributed, what was it, to the North Clover Creek Collins appeal on 121st. Wasn't that like $1,500?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And that was out of our area. This is smack dab right in the middle of our Summit Waller Community Association community. So up to $500, does that sound good?
Or do we want to do more? There was a suggestion of matching at 20%, which if we did and they raised everything, that'd be a little over $700.
I know a couple people that would be very, very willing to get on board with this. I don't think we're going to have a problem with that.
Mhm.
I mean, I think the $500 from the Summit Waller Community Association will be just fine.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, I can almost guarantee it. I just got to make a couple phone calls.
Yeah, it's a nice tip of the boulder off the cliff to get more.
Ah,
You know, sometimes when we have contributed money, all of a sudden there's additional contributions to our organization to
Mhm.
replenish what we donated. I've seen that before.
That is correct.
We could always bump it up if we run short later.
sure.
You know,
Yeah, we could have a special or like an emergency meeting, do a phone conference or something, or there's lots of options, but I have a pretty good feeling that we're going to be okay there. So I'll
All
do
right.
it.
And your contacts, Russell, would need to get in touch with Bob Corish.
Yes. I'll get that all in order, and I will I'll facilitate that. Okay.
So I need someone to make a motion that we would contribute up to $500.
I move
Or
that
do
we
we want to go
contribute-
farther?
I move that we contribute.
I'll
Up
second
to.
it.
I have to say.
Okay, what's your motion, Jen?
I move that we contribute a starting amount of $500 toward the amount that needs to be raised. What's the official to file the appeal?
And Angela seconds it.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that the Summit Waller Community Association contribute an initial amount of $500 towards the administrative appeal fee in regards to the Canyon Rim Estates development. Bob, does that sound all right to you?
Yeah, sounds good.
Any discussion?
sounds like we've done it.
Okay, hearing, any other discussion? All right, so this is an initial amount that we're willing to contribute. All right, okay. Those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, say nay. The motion carries. Thank you very much for your attention on this
Yeah.
important topic that's just come
Yeah.
up today.
Thanks, Bob.
Yeah, thanks for all your work, Bob, on this. And the further work that you and Dan and that you're going to have to do in the next couple of weeks, I'm thinking.
Mhm.
If you haven't noticed, there are new traffic signals installed at 52nd Street East and Pioneer Way East. That was something that our association promoted through Rick Talbert's office. That was when we were asking for additional streetlights. And at the same time, we were concerned about close call left turns from 52nd Street
Mhm.
onto Pioneer Way East. And that traffic signals, at least temporarily, needed to be installed there, because eventually that intersection will be abandoned once the intersection of Pioneer Way and Canyon Road is finalized for the Canyon Road extension.
Mhm.
The old Faith Dairy building is now a Puyallup Tribe marijuana shop.
Yeah.
Could have seen that coming.
Yeah, they've done quite a bit of paving, but it looks like they're still going to have the rest of the property still probably be a cultural center of some type. But
Of
it looks
some
like
type,
they're
huh?
going to be open for business to compete with other marijuana outfits in the area. We do not want to touch that issue with a 10-foot pole. They have every right to do that. However, it is, Dan Hare expressed the concern that it's quite possible that the Puyallup tribe is breaking federal law by selling marijuana, because marijuana is still a level 1 drug that is illegal.
Yeah, well, that's the second tribal owned pot shop by the Puyallup tribe, so I don't think they really care about federal law at this point.
I mean, unfortunately, I know or have heard a lot more enthusiasm about it than I have negativity.
Mhm. Yeah, me
Yeah.
too.
Yes, definitely. Well, I heard they were going to put in a truck stop there for diesel refueling.
Huh?
And where did you get that information, Don?
Oh, I just pulled it out, you know what?
Okay.
Yeah, the one that concerns me a little bit more is the stable going in across the street, the riding, whatever you want to call it, and its impact on Orange Gate Park, because I think y'all know what my position of horses in the park are.
Yeah, there
They're a
was, yeah, the property directly across 72nd from the old Faith Dairy site has been purchased, and the people are actively building horse stables, and they do have access to Pipeline Road. So obviously, there goes another horse riding facility being built in our area to go along with the several horse venues that have sprung up around Orange Gate or in the vicinity of Orange Gate Park.
Well, I have no problem. I am a horse fan myself. I just think it's inequitable that horses use the park and create, they leave a
Hygiene
trail.
issues.
They leave a trail and they contribute nothing, they pay nothing, and we are the ones that are stuck with the burden.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, to a certain extent, you're right.
How you gonna change it after all this?
They leave their horse nuggets behind.
and they definitely tear up the trails in the winter time, so you got to wear hip boots to get through there.
Mhm.
So,
The additional benefit, though, is that these large horse farms also help maintain secure land that can't be developed for future stuff. So
Yeah.
that's a big
Yeah,
side benefit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's positives and negatives about everything, but you know, the horses keep the trails open. There is no other large parcel of land in the immediate vicinity in Tacoma or surrounding urban areas where people can bring in their horses and go for a pretty good ride. All right, any other comments on that?
I was just poking around on the Pierce County GIS, and I didn't know if, because I don't think we've talked about this since our last meeting, the property on the corner of 72nd and Waller, the kind of wedge-shaped piece of property that has a little grocery store and fruit stand on it right now.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That just recently sold.
Julie and Albert are the new owners. I don't know their last name, but they're lovely people.
Well, but it's interesting because the taxpayer is a corporation with an address that's kitty corner on 72nd. And at that address, it's owned by Catherine and John Hicks. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure what the relationship is there, but you said you know the people, Jen, that bought that?
Well, I've been getting to know them every time I stop by. Yeah, they bought it from John and Becky. I don't know John and Becky's last name.
Uh-huh.
And they decided to retire, and they taught him the business over the summer, and I think they're on their own.
Are you sure that this isn't just one lease going to a new person who has a lease? Because if the owners are a corporation, are these people connected to the corporation, or are they leasing this from the corporation?
Oh, I don't know their personal business.
Okay.
What two pieces of property are linked together? Obviously the one on the corner right there, but.
So that right there, is the grocery store and the
Right.
farm. Then if you go,
The cigarette stand on the other side.
it's 3108 72nd Street East, which is basically kind of kitty corner and on 72nd. Anyway.
Third option down.
Right there. So it's that house there with the swimming pool in it. That's 3108 right there.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was like, okay.
That is kind of weird.
And the people that live there are the two individuals that I named earlier. So.
Okay. Well.
So anyway, that was interesting.
Yeah. Maybe they saw an opportunity and they're just, going to keep it the way it is, hopefully.
I don't know.
So are you saying the people with the swimming pool there are the owners of the property where the
Well, that's where the address to the corporation is.
Oh, okay. All right.
Want me to snoop and ask?
Yeah, go ahead,
I'm
Jen.
curious.
Okay.
Just curious what they bought it for.
Oh, my kids like to go in there and buy candy, so I can go.
It sold for $925,000. So, I mean, it wasn't just like, oh, hey, on a whim, let's go buy this property.
Wow.
Hi, Patty.
Okay.
She
All
says,
right.
Jen.
Hi, Jan.
Going down to an issue under new business, compression brake usage on Canyon Road. There has been some back and forth with Letitia M. Neal with Don Massey over this issue. But Don, you want to kind of run us through this issue that you brought to the board?
Yeah. 512 westbound approaching Canyon has a noise ordinance sign regarding the use of compression brake. And I don't know where the limits are, but there is nothing on Canyon Road to prevent or to discourage the use of compression brakes on these, sometimes not overloaded, but more than a standard semi is licensed for. A lot of them are running unmuffled exhaust, and it is quite annoying to the residents. Since they started the expansion of the Canyon Road, I don't know how many of you have been down here, but there are a significant number of residents whose front porch will now step onto the sidewalk with the
Yeah.
widening of Canyon Road. And I think it's our civic duty as citizens of the community, even though they haven't. I'm on the west side and my residence sits 300 feet back and it still will rattle the house, okay? So I would like, oh, and the other thing is whether you care or not, but I carried a commercial driver's license for almost 25 years. I was licensed to drive anything that was legal on the highways of any state in the United States, including bulk liquids, hazmat materials, commercial buses, you name it, I was qualified to drive it. I had a truck that had open exhaust and a jake brake. It was very judicious on its usage. There is no reason mechanically why a jake brake is necessary for the slight grade from 104th down to 96th. But furthermore, it is residential all the way to 72nd. I have no qualms about letting them use a jake from 72nd down the hill to the Pioneer area. There's only two residents on that section of highway. And I think it is a safety issue when they come through there. Like I say, many of them are licensed to carry well over the 80,000 that the standard semi is permitted for. I would like the board to submit a request through, I don't know, our good friend, our county council person for an ordinance to address that issue. So have any of y'all got comments on that?
Hey, I got a comment first here. This is, I printed off what Dawn sent to Letitia Neal for the county and then her response. Dawn wrote, "The neighbors and I are increasingly annoyed by the use of compression brakes north of Highway 512 on Canyon Road East. With the expansion of Canyon Road, usage will substantially increase. Whereas compression brakes have a place and purpose, their use between 104th Street and 72nd Street should not be a factor if they maintain the proper speed limit, as the road is not steep. Therefore, I request the county consider adding these signs as soon as possible. This would allow ample time for drivers to adjust their driving style before the project is completed." And Letitia Neal wrote back, "Thank you for your email and your patience in waiting for my response. Your request has certainly generated a lot of discussion here, and based on those discussions, our traffic staff are the best ones to work with you on this request. So I am forwarding your concern to the traffic section, and they will be in contact with you soon. In the interim, if you could provide me with a phone number for contact as well as info relating to exactly when and where this seems to be an issue, that would be helpful." And that's from Letitia. I guess my question to you, Don, is has traffic people gotten back to you? Or have you provided them with a phone contact phone number?
I'm glad you asked that question as the story goes. This letter was initiated a year ago on this November 7th, a year ago.
Oh, yeah, I see that. Mhm.
Okay, it took 2 months for Letitia Neal to get the reply to me. Her two questions are really answered in the initial letter. I told her specifically where the zoning was that we were asking, and she also has an email address. No Roads has not got back to me in any manner whatsoever.
Okay. All right, so that was, yeah, I see that now. Your initial was November the 7th, 2019, and then she got back with you on January the 2nd, 2020. So it's been months and months and months, and no one has gotten back to you, either Letitia or traffic.
Oh,
Is that
as a footnote to that, one of these community meetings that we had up at Mid-County, there were traffic people there, and I don't remember the date of that, but there was quite a group of people. And I did talk to one of the traffic engineers, and it was regarding the wedding venue that is going in next door, and the traffic of 300 cars potentially exiting a gathering there, and how Canyon Road would serve that purpose without whatever. There is no left turn lanes where we are. So anyway, that is not my issue that I'm discussing right now. It's just a side note. There's been no inquiries further on that, but this I would like to see a letter written to whoever Larry feels is the proper channels.
Does anybody know, I mean, if they have plans to put signs up during all this construction process?
Well, that's what I'm asking.
Okay, all right.
And the answer is no, I don't believe that there's that it's part of the consideration of the expansion.
Okay.
But that's just my personal guesstimate.
My comment is that I work with Mark Williams and Rick Talbert to get an ordinance passed to put up, to have the county put up no parking, standing, or stopping between certain hours around Orange Gate. That worked. So I'm willing to work with Don to put together an email. Probably an email would work the best, but I can also follow that up with a letter requesting that that there be signage put up between SR 512 and 72nd Street East on Canyon Road East, that their compression brakes are not allowed, or otherwise known as Jake brakes.
You see those signs up in all sorts of places. I don't see why they couldn't accommodate that area, especially with the widening of the road and increase of traffic going forward.
Yeah, I mean, now's the time to do it. So.
Yeah.
So do I have a motion?
So moved.
I so
Okay,
moved.
okay, so it's Russell, did you make the motion?
I believe it was Bob and Don.
Yeah.
Yep, it was Bob and Don.
I don't think
Don,
Don
you could-
should, I don't think
Okay.
Don should be a part of the motion or second because he brought the issue up. So we'll go with Bob as the second.
Okay.
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded that an email and a letter be sent to Rick Talbert's, not Rick Talbert, Marty Campbell's office requesting an ordinance to prohibit compression brakes on Canyon Road East from SR 512 north to 72nd Street East.
Yeah. And I believe the ordinance is covered under what I presented in that initial letter.
Okay. Again, who was first and second on this?
That was me, Russell.
Okay.
So we're
Russell,
talking Bob and made the motion and Russell seconded it. I guess that's how we're going.
Okay, got it.
All right. Any other discussion? Okay. Hearing no further discussion, we'll take a vote. Those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed say nay. The motion therefore carries, and Bob and I will get right on that, and we'll move on to number 2. Today I sent you out information about Zoom meetings for the Mid-County Advisory Commission Zoom meeting on next Tuesday, November the 10th. It's at 6:30, and the information on how to, you have the information on how to get involved with that meeting if you so desire. Also, there's a Pierce County Parks Citizens Advisory Board Zoom meeting on November the 7th. That's at 6 o'clock. And the information on how to get involved with that is also there. Bob, I'm assuming that your wife has gotten information about how that already with that.
I'm not sure what she's received, but she knows about the meeting, yeah.
Okay, and Dawn, maybe you are interested in the Pierce County Park Citizen Advisory Board. I know you've tuned in on one before, didn't find it to be too exciting, but I'm not sure whether you'd be interested in this, the November 17th one.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna sit in on that one.
Okay, all right, I might also, we'll see. Okay, anybody else have any questions about those 2 Zoom meetings?
Yeah,
The name,
yeah.
go ahead.
I did submit an application to fill the vacancy for a seat on the County Park Advisory Board,
For District 5.
District 5, yes.
Okay, you've made application.
Yes.
Oh, wonderful. Great.
How far it
Con-
goes, we'll see.
So you definitely will be tuning in on that Pierce County Park Citizen Advisory Board's Zoom meeting on the 17th. All right, well, yeah, keep us posted on whether you get appointed to that board or not.
Well, I got a question, and maybe Angela knows. Who makes the determination? I kind of felt that the sitting board was the ones that either accepted or declined your interest in a position.
No, I don't think it would be the sitting board. It would be,
Well, it goes through the
like,
county executive.
well, yes,
ultimately.
it's the county executive's office.
Yeah.
When I was on the solid waste advisory committee, it was vetted eventually through the executive's office, but there's someone, there's staff that support the board, so park staff. So it'd likely come from them and in conjunction with the executive's office.
Okay.
But it's
Yeah.
not,
So you
not
might
the
start
existing board.
You might start with Marty, because usually there's a, they refer it on up to the county executive. And then ultimately what would happen is you'd have an interview with whoever with the county, whatever professional staff member is sort of the lead for that group, or at least that's the way it was for the board that I'm on.
Mm-hmm.
And then they make their recommendation. It's kind of a pro forma thing. And then it goes before the county council. And again, it's kind of a pro forma. These people have been nominated to serve on these boards. They all vote yes, and then you're on the board.
Well, anybody
But it
that
has
wants to
this-
send a letter of support is welcome to do so.
So is the council position 5 position on the Parks Board open then?
Yes, it is.
Oh, okay, that's new because a few years back I'd applied for that and nothing happened and nothing happened. And then all of a sudden, oh, they put somebody else on it. So I guess he must have
I just
moved or something.
hit it by chance, and
Mhm.
we'll see.
Well, it's possible, Don, that you're not the only one applying for that District 5 position now.
Yeah.
Oh, I understand that.
And we also have a position open on the MCAC as well. A member who got married and moved out of the area, no longer on the board. And so they could really use somebody who's not pro-developer to sit on that board.
Yeah.
Might be something else. That might be something else we might want to advertise on our webpage.
Can I ask one thing about the Canyon Rim Estates issue, if you don't mind
Yeah.
switching subjects? I'm going to make a couple phone calls tomorrow, and if I'm able to secure the funding we need for that, what is the prudent way to collect that? Do we have them write a check to the community association's name and then we do it that way, or what do you guys think?
That's one. If we're filing the appeal, we'd be the ones making the payment. So
Okay.
yeah, I mean, they could write a check to us with a notation of what it's for.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to double check on that. So I'll see if I can make that happen. And we're still not 100% sure. I mean, if and when that's going to happen.
Yeah, it's whenever the county gets around to issuing that, and it would probably be sooner than later.
Okay. Well, I guess.
But it will happen.
Okay.
Yeah, it will happen.
Mhm.
Okay. Well,
Especially when you take a look at the statements by Northwest Cascade that, they're going to have 16 houses, but there are only going to be 40 people total living along there. And, other statements are just bull.
yeah, I mean, one thing leads to another as well. So,
Yeah.
Right across the street, they're building a gated community over there, and there's already an existing gated community with some pretty high-end houses there. I'm pretty sure they would not be real happy to see a row houses across the street.
No, and they're not happy with all the truck traffic that's along there anyway because of the pit.
And it's not a real wide street either.
No, it's narrow.
They'd get really good cell service there because there's a cell tower there
Yeah.
on the east side of the street. Well, number 3, neighborhood watch meeting again has been canceled at the Mid-County Community Center. That would be the Waller Road Neighborhood Watch meeting. I would assume that those wouldn't start up again at the Mid-County Community Center, probably not till spring or late spring, early summer.
Mhm.
And I don't anticipate our meetings, which would be at the same, well, we can have a board meeting at the community center anytime we want. However, we would have to be masked up and socially distanced in the room. But I think that would probably be still too dangerous. So you never know. One of us could walk in and we might be asymptomatic. So I don't anticipate us having I anticipate us having Zoom meetings well into the first half of 2021. I'm not sure how the rest of you feel about that, but
It's not bad. I mean, my
Don't have to go out in the dark and wet.
my chair is pretty comfy
yeah,
Yeah.
this year.
yeah, with Zoom meetings, you don't have to go out and drive in the dark and wet. That's right.
Easy to grab a beer from the fridge.
Yeah.
That is true too. Yep.
Yeah.
Where's my glass of wine?
Yeah.
I got a lot of 2016 red wines to drink before they start to turn.
Yeah.
All right, does anybody have anything else? I noticed that our meeting went probably about 50 minutes longer than anticipated, but with the Canyon Rim Estates issue coming up, I knew that would take up more time than I had anticipated. And sure enough, it did. So anybody have any comments?
Nope.
Well, I want to wish everybody a very, very happy Thanksgiving in that, who knows, maybe you'll have to have a Zoom Thanksgiving. My wife and I had a Zoom Halloween party with our youngest son and his family in Titusville, Florida, and my daughter-in-law's extended family in the Orlando area. So it was really fun. We got all dressed up and it was really kind of fun. So, maybe there'll be some Thanksgiving Zoom meetings like that. But happy Thanksgiving to all of you. I hope it goes well.
You
And
too.
our next
Same
meeting
to you.
is December the 1st, the
Hey,
very first day of December, 7 o'clock.
All right.
Till
Okay,
then.
good night.
And I'm going to
good
get
night.
I'm going to get a card off to Lisa expressing our thanks for her 5 years of service to our organization, and hoping that she will help us out occasionally in the future.
I think that's a good idea, Larry.
Nice.
All right. Okay, well, thank you all for attending the meeting. Thanks, Gabe, for being our host, and we will see you next month. I'm sure we'll be talking with each other in the meantime.
Yes.
Hey.
Good night.
All right. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Thank you.